Hi, is Misha Bridin agus is muintir bunscala mé. Thoisi mé ag teagasc in scal Gaeltachta in éar thuisgurt dúnagáil ins na hochtaidí. Chai mé rins blianta ag obair ar an cuas Gaeilge séidean sí, agus cumáile sin dibri mé leis an PDST ag obair le Gaeilge, Jeis, Literacht agus Féin Vastrat scala. I've come through huge changes over the last 35 years. And while our core function in school has always been teaching and learning, the world of education has changed dramatically. Leadership in schools has changed dramatically. Principals and deputy principals work with school accounts. They project manage building projects. They sit on interviewing boards to employ potential candidates. They carry out secretarial duties, caretaking work. They deal with human resource issues, conflict management, and they produce wonderful concerts, musicals and dramas at various times of the school year, all in the name of teaching and learning. Today, I want to talk to you about the role of principal and deputy principal in school and how they can work collaboratively in a small school setting. Is áit ionta gríthe ar go scalani agus tá rudaí ag garthú an táim ar fad. Schools are extremely busy places, and the rate of pace and change has accelerated alarmingly over the last few years. In schools all over the country, we're currently trying to embed school self-evaluation, while some of us are trying to work on the policy done Idiachas Gaeltachta. We're also adjusting to online learning. Then, of course, we have the NCCA looking at an overhaul of the curriculum. So the role of deputy principal and principal need to reflect these fast and furious changes. First of all, a good working relationship between the principal and deputy principal is extremely important. It's a relationship that needs to be based on collaboration, trust, two-way communication, dialogue, discussion, respect, and collegiality. If we as a team can achieve this, then this can actually lead to better educational outcomes for our children and can also lead to better job satisfaction. Lilin mo chadama erisach chonig me deach leachtas agus deach homersaid idir príomhaidí agus leas príomhaidí. During my time in secondment, I visited many schools. I witnessed fantastic relationships and communications between principals and their deputy principals. They were focused and communicated very clearly with all the stakeholders involved in education. However, we are all individuals and very often do things differently. We don't always agree on approaches and methods, but that's the dynamics of individuality. So what happens in a school if the leadership is toxic and the principal is not willing to delegate? In this situation, I believe that we need to prioritise open communication and to work collaboratively to transform and to progress. Principals need to share tasks and they need to pool their strengths with their deputy. They need to acknowledge the skills of others, the concerns and the feelings of others, the opinions and ideas of others by listening and also by hearing what others are saying. It's a team effort, as they say, ní neart go cur le chéile. Secondly, the role of deputy principal, as we know it today, is to deputise, to work together to achieve the aims and the objectives of the school. But I believe that the role has never properly evolved. There's no formal training for the deputy. Deputy principals often learn on the job, so to speak. So I think we need to develop that role further. And I ask the question, what actually makes a good deputy principal? I think that a good deputy principal, who's often referred to, by the way, as the principal's sidekick, needs to have leadership qualities. And good leadership always starts with self-awareness. They also need qualities such as confidentiality, discretion, good negotiation skills, emotional intelligence, and empathy. And I think a calm personality is also required. As I mentioned, the role of deputy has never properly evolved. In some schools, the deputy has certain clearly defined roles. Agus in scalana ella is bag fragrachta atá ag an leas príomhaide. The practice varies hugely from school to school. There doesn't seem to be any hard and fast rule, in terms of the role of the deputy. However, This could possibly be a delegation issue where the principal is unwilling to delegate, perhaps due to their lack of professionalism, their emotional intelligence, or their incompetence. Principals and deputy principals, I think, would do well to remember the motto that the NIPT use. It's a sign of strength to ask for help. And I believe that a principal must recognise the importance of shared leadership with their deputy principal. The CSL, Centre for School Leadership, provides personal development opportunities for principals throughout their career. They run mentoring services for new principals and also provide support for established principals. Could they possibly provide similar opportunities for deputy principals, I wonder? Professional growth is important in leadership and management. In our educational system, I believe that there isn't enough in career development, especially for deputy principals. It's not good enough that the deputy can be asked to step up and act as principal without the necessary training and the necessary skills. I believe that there's much more CPD needed to enable the deputy principal to develop professionally in their role in an educational system that's constantly changing. I've noted that circulars are often issued by the department, and very often deputy principals don't see them. And I've also noted that in terms of the circulars that the department issue, they don't mention deputy principals. They mention principal teachers and all teaching staff. Bachor gomau jesh ag privegi agus lias privegi frastal ar chursi le chéile. Joint in-service training and CPD is essential for both principals and deputy principals. We need leadership workshops, not separate training and CPD for principals and deputy principals. Now, we are living in an era of increased workload and sweeping changes, and I know that principals and deputy principals need to remain positive. And I know that the IPPN are promoting the Pew model, and this model is helping to streamline the workload of principals and deputy principals. And this is actually a model where school leaders are empowered to prioritise and manage the flow of initiatives in schools. Without doubt, there is extra pressure and emphasis on paperwork coming to rest with principals and deputy principals. And of course, then we have the time constraints. Bhí taithí agam héin ar seo de ra bhí me ag feimnú mar phríomhide ar feadh ceithre bliana. Bhí me gcónaí chur brú orm héin gach rud a bheith suas chun dáta agus farfa. Bhí me cosla madú amantí a geirí grimme eile ar rubble. But the nature of the job is that the landscape is changing on a regular basis, and we need to be realistic in terms of what we can achieve. And this is why I think that the Pew model is absolutely fantastic. Finally, I believe that the relationship between the principal and the deputy principal is central to good staff relations, to good learning outcomes for the children, and for good job satisfaction among the teaching and ancillary staff in school. I also believe that principals and deputy principals need good leadership and management skills to be capable and competent in their role in an ever-changing educational landscape. I also feel that there is need for the role of deputy to be evolved even further. And I wonder, one solution for this would possibly be maybe release days for the deputy principal. And I would commend the IPPN on all the work they are doing on sustainable leadership in our schools at present. So maybe going forward, this might be something that we could look at for deputy principals. And I'll sign off and I'll leave you with that, with the old Shanachal, is the rare chéile a hoogtar na cashna.